This is how little this person cares about this adventure. They care about it way less than you and I already care about it. Why don't you write something to make them understand that? Just make us the map. It's just terrible, man. Welcome back, folks. I'm the referee, Connor McCloskey, and here we review 5e adventures and talk about adventure design. And today we're reviewing Whispers in the Wormwood by Griffon's Passage. And I'm honestly glad that no one put their name to this adventure, because then I might feel really bad about all the mean things I'm about to say about it. This adventure is designed as a one-shot for 3 to 5 characters of levels 3 to 5, which seems like a pretty broad range right off the bat. And it is 19 pages of 9 awful adventuring locations. 3 nights ago, the miller's daughter walked into the Wormwood. Last night, she walked back out. She hasn't spoken since. She hasn't blinked, and every villager in Millhaven has been dreaming her dreams. So far, pretty good. Whispers in Wormwood is a mystery horror adventure for 3 to 5 characters of level 3 to 5. It's built around investigation, dread, and a climactic negotiation rather than combat. The players will gather clues, navigate a hostile dreaming forest, and ultimately face a corrupted nature spirit, not to destroy it, but to understand it well enough to bargain with it. That all sounds pretty cool, actually, and unfortunately, that is the high watermark for the entire adventure. It all goes downhill from that description. To still put it mildly, this adventure is terrible. It is self-important, it is overwritten, it is condescending drivel the entire way through. The opening sounds great, as you just heard. Sounds like a great idea for a one-shot. It's creepy and thematic, but as soon as we get past that, everything immediately starts to fall apart. The very first GM note on tone and pacing immediately misunderstands what a one-shot should be, or really has to be, immediately starts railroading, and is already way too self-assured. This adventure rewards a slow, atmospheric pace in Act 1 and 2. Let the village feel ordinary before it starts feeling wrong. We don't have time for that in a one-shot, you just gotta get right to it. The horror in Whispers is not monsters, it is the creeping realization that something ancient and grieving has made an innocent child its vessel. Push the players toward empathy over violence. Don't push the players. The best sessions end with the table emotionally moved, not triumphant. Then we have our adventure themes: grief without language, dreams as truth, and the cost of binding, and this is the one we're going to look at right now. Magic that ties a soul to a place seems like devotion. Over centuries, Oh, wait a second, we lost the plot there for a second. And that's because we have a column break in the middle of a word in order to finish one sentence. Becomes a trap for both the soul and the place. This is how little this person cares about this adventure. They care about it way less than you and I already care about it. The rest of the intro section in the village is fine, if fairly bland, and way too long for a one-shot. Then we get into the middle section in the forest, which is awful almost across the board. Right off the bat, the Wormwood is not a normal forest and should not be described like one. Really. It is ancient, dense, and wrong in ways that accumulate rather than announce themselves. The first 100 yards feel merely oppressive. By the time the players realize how deep they are, the village is gone from sight and memory feels unreliable. Then more GM notes that would be better off not in the adventure. The Wormwood is not a dungeon. There are no rooms, no initiative, no random encounter tables. Instead, offer the players a sequence of moments, sensory, strange, and significant, as they travel deeper. Each encounter below takes roughly 10 to 20 minutes of real time. No, they won't. Choose 4 to 5 based on your table's pace and what clues they still need. So basically, the GM will pick their favorite little vignettes for everyone to play through, and you don't get to explore, and you don't get to fight, and if you try any of those things, then everything falls apart. And none of this takes 10 to 20 minutes in real time. It's actually a good thing we spent so long in the village, because this section is going to be real short. But in a twist of fate, the very first encounter in the woods is actually pretty good. Actually pretty creepy. A deer stands in the path, absolutely still. It has been standing long enough that moss has begun to grow on its back. When the players approach within 10 feet, it turns its head slowly, mechanically, and looks at them with eyes that are completely white. It is not a threat, it is a sentinel. If the players attempt to harm it, 6 more emerge from the tree line. They will never attack, but they will follow, always at the edge of vision, for the rest of the session. That would be cool and eerie, and even, players cut them down and they just die and more show up. That all sounds great if the entire adventure wasn't like that throughout the rest of it. Then we have another column break mid-sentence just to fit the words "a third" up on the next column. And then we have the memory glade, which is such an example of terrible room description and design that I honestly don't even know what to criticize about it, because it's all so awful that it should just be deleted. A clearing where the light is different, golden, soft, the quality of afternoon 3 centuries ago. Characters who rest here for 10 minutes experience a full Marin's memory. How would they know to rest there for 10 minutes to achieve that unless you tell them to do it? The glade is the most beautiful place the players will see in this adventure. Why are you telling us that instead of just making it sound super beautiful? They should understand that the Wyrmwood was once like this everywhere. Why don't you write something to make them understand that instead of just saying arbitrary sentences about what you hope that this glade will make them feel? This entire thing reads like someone who has ever only been on the output receiving end of an adventure and is just guessing their best guess at what it must look like in the book. The final negotiation itself is actually fine. Depending on how many scenes the GM made the players sit through, they have a certain number of secrets, and if they can figure out what the secrets mean and based on what the players choose to offer Marion and what they understand about what she needs. You can get 3 different endings. Each one comes with its own distinct epilogue much further down the line, which are actually fine. But the entire adventure leading up to that scene is just not good. Also, the monsters are just awful, reactive lumps that just stand around and wait for the players to do things and watch them. There's no treasure anywhere in the adventure. There's no magic items anywhere in the adventure. There's no fucking map in the adventure, and there's actually a handout that should be a map. So instead of getting a map, we get handout C, which is a description of a map. A rough ink drawing on old paper. The Wormwood is drawn as a dark mass. A dotted path leads from the forest's western edge, marked "Enter here," where the old shrine stood, to a central point marked with a simple tree symbol and the words, "The Heart, the old oak. She is here." Someone has added in different ink much later, "Do not go in, do not go in, do not go in." Just make us the map. Just put it together, draw it, sketch it, do something with it, just some way to keep track of where we are. Not that it actually matters because the players can't explore this forest, right? So I guess it doesn't matter if they're just going to hit scene after scene in whatever order the GM decides to drop them in, then I guess the map doesn't actually matter. But it would be nice as the GM to be able to orient yourself and maybe understand the layout of the forest so you can describe it to them as they go through it. It's just terrible, man. And then we have the final GM note, which is somehow still the worst part of this entire thing. Whispers in the Wormwood works best when the players leave the table having felt something. Are you serious? The mystery is solvable. The monsters are manageable because they don't do anything. But Marin, a person who loved something so much she erased herself trying to protect it, is the heart of this adventure in both senses of the word. If a player shares something real during the negotiation, a genuine moment of grief or recognition, honor it. The adventure has done what it is meant to do. The passage is open. Go tell the story. I'm gonna go throw up. Also, that's the end on page 15, and after 3 pages of useless credits and the legal licensing, page 19 is blank for some reason. They probably just didn't read it all the way through a second time to realize there was an extra page at the end. This adventure is $4.99 on drive-thru, and it is not worth a single penny. There is nothing here that's worth taking. It gets 2 stars, and that's only because I'm reserving a little bit of leeway in case I somehow find something worse later. So take your $4.99, go out, buy yourself a nice fancy cup of coffee instead, and then just dump it on the ground because it'll be less disappointing. So if you found this useful, please remember to like and subscribe, and if you have any ideas for third-party adventures that I ought to check out, please drop it in a comment. Next time we'll be looking at Kobolds and Cowboys by Critical Crafting, which looks pretty fun. But until then, I've been your referee, Connor McCloskey, and that's today's game. Thanks, guys.